Frank, kia ora, thanks for joining us today.
Kia ora, Andrew. A pleasure.
Now, just clarity on this one. You're still Reverend Frank Ritchie, right? That part hasn't changed.
Yeah.
You haven't been defrocked. It's just a decommissioning, right?
Yeah. For now, I've finished up at the church that I planted 9 years ago, which has been an interesting experience. It's a little church that I've pastored in Hamilton for about 9 years now, as a part-time local church minister. While I've also done my chaplaincy work, my radio work, and the various other things that I get up to, and I realised it would have been towards the second half. It was in the second half of last year. I'd always imagined that my work with commoners, the church that I planted, was going to be a 15-year project to bed in a solid community. It is a solid community, but I'm bowing out years before I anticipated, just because of life circumstance and the toll that various aspects of my life have taken over the last number of years, the last 5 years in particular, and so decided it was a wise time to hand in my resignation towards the end of last year, and finished up Sunday just gone was the farewell service.
Firstly, good on you for what you have done. For some people, though, that would be a struggle, putting down something that they feel God has called them to do. Some people would say, hey, look, have I failed? Did I hear wrong from God? This was a vision that I had, and now we're taking a turn, we're changing direction. Some people would really struggle with that. How are you feeling?
Yeah, I'm feeling good. I mean, there's a number of reasons that I'm feeling okay. I look at the congregation that I put in place, the congregation that's there, and they're an amazing community of people. And I feel fairly certain, even with the gaps that currently exist there, I feel fairly certain that they will continue. And look, I don't think you'd be doing your job as a minister if you didn't look back at the end of your time and be thinking about all the things that you could have done.
Yeah.
You know, I could have set them up better. I could have done more pastoral work. I could have done this. I could have done that. I don't think you're doing your job if you don't think like that.
Yeah.
But I've also always seen everything that I do, whether it be chaplaincy or the local church work, as God's work, and I just have the joy of being able to participate in it for whatever time I'm participating in it. And so as I leave, I just trust that God's going to do what God's going to do. If the congregation keeps going, great. If for any reason whatsoever it fades away and it folds, then clearly it was just its time. I think perspective is a great thing, and understanding how small we are really in the big scheme of things, and that just for a moment we have the pleasure of participating in God's work, and there's always going to be a season to that. Everything that we do, everything comes to an end sometime.
And hey, a good way to end in this regard. Yes, there's a decommissioning, but there's also a celebration. There's being a part of a community and laying that down, rather than being in a situation of, well, I did that and then I got fired, or they ran out of money, or there was this big bust up or something like this. This is a much better way of tying things off than it could have been.
Yeah, there's absolutely no scandal here whatsoever. I didn't burn out. There was the potential of that maybe happening at some point, so I decided it was wiser to bow out before that could possibly happen. And it wouldn't have been because of the workload, which would have just been my own mental, emotional, and spiritual health. But it has been a celebration. It's been wonderful to hear the stories from our congregation of why people came along to Commoners, what it has meant to them, and then look, we've been a congregation that has always done shared lunches very, very well, because we're the size of church that can do shared lunches. And so there was a whole pig that had been cooked on the spit by our Tongan family. There was some KFC on that table, and I indulged in those well. But it was just wonderful hearing stories of healing, people who might have walked away from faith coming back to faith. It was very much a celebration, and for that reason, it feels satisfying.
Also, just wanting to salute the maturity in your response to this, because there's something about our culture that always strives us to do more. Okay, we're doing all these things, and Frank, if I can describe you, you're very much a Renaissance man. You are very good at a number of things, and you've got a whole bunch of plates spinning at the moment. But there's a pressure in society that would very much say, okay, let's spin another plate. Let's do something in addition to everything else that I'm doing, rather than recognizing that in order to do all the things God has given you well, maybe it's time to put down that plate. Maybe it's time to create some more space for the new thing God is calling us to do, rather than it being, oh, and also I will do this, and you just end up with, as you mentioned, burnout, a whole bunch of broken crockery, and nothing done particularly well.
Yeah, we're very good as a culture when it comes to problem solving, of adding things rather than subtracting things. And many people who have followed this show for any length of time in my journey will know about my daughter's health journey and the impact that that had on us as a family. And it was coming back from that and realizing that that had changed me, and then looking at everything that I was doing and going, I just don't think I can do this anymore. I'm a different person now. I can't keep all these plates spinning. So which plate needs to come off in order to be able to do the work that God has built me for? And the church just ended up being, and talking it through with people and assessing it, the church ended up being the plate that needed to be taken down so that someone else could take up my role as well, and hopefully keep moving that congregation forward. I just didn't have what it took anymore to be able to continue moving that congregation forward.
And I think that's a much better model of what success looks like. That if you're able to build something, to mentor people, to have a succession plan, to say, hey, I started this thing, but I don't need to control the details of it moving forward. It's in God's hands, not my hands. A much better model, but honestly, as human beings, we struggle with that sometimes.
Yeah, we do very much struggle with it. And sometimes there's a bit of ego in play. Like there's a bit in Christian circles to say that you're a minister who leads a local church. That's a good little badge of honor.
Yeah.
So there's a bit of ego in play there as well. But it's critical to know that the most important things to me in my life are my walk with Jesus and how I'm doing with that and how I'm serving my family.
Yeah.
Everything else, if it's detracting from those two things or causing issues in those two things, needs to step aside. And so now I get to go into a phase after years of relatively high stress, and not just because of the church. I get to go into a phase where God and I can really take some time to examine how God and I are doing without the responsibility of the formation of a congregation and other people's journeys, which just feels like a healthy space to me.
Is it for you, what in terms of what happens next, is it a period of discernment, or is there some new things that you needed to create space for? What's next? What are you sensing, Frank?
Yeah, good question. The church has paid me a day a week, so there's a day a week that has opened up in my calendar. And I'm someone who feels like I've been built for the public square and I guess meandering through my thoughts about faith and sharing those with other people.
Yeah.
So now I get to focus on that a lot more, but I need to replace the church income that I've lost as well. Okay. So Substack, I've created a Substack where people pay a small monthly fee, and I get to write because I love writing, but it's away from the trolls because it sits behind a paywall.
Yep.
So it gets to be a little more intimate because I'm not putting it out there for all of the public. If people do want to have a look at it, they can check out alongtheway.nz. But I really enjoy writing, so it's a place where I can flex that love a little.
Hey, Frank, appreciate the many aspects of the ministry that God has called you to do. Thank you for being a part of this ministry as well, a part of this program today. Kia ora, God bless you, and thank you for being on the show today.
Oh, look, and thank you for having me on. I think the opportunity to turn on a microphone anytime is a real privilege. So the fact that you would have me, I'm honored.
Kia ora. Hey, thanks very much for joining us in the Rhema studio. Thanks very much for watching the interview. It's kind of nice to have an audience, actually. And if you did like what you watched, then do give us a like, do give us the thumbs up. And if you'd like to see more interviews like that one, or perhaps even better, subscribe and those interviews will come straight to you. Don't forget to turn on your notifications, and we'll see you in the next one. Cheers.